Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Please close the door so hopefully everybody's in. I want to welcome you all very warmly on this cold winter's morning. And yes, it doesn't seem like there's so many of us here. Some lucky people are up north or somewhere warmer, some may be still in bed. But just remember what Jesus said, that wherever there's 2 or 3 gathered together in my name, I will be there. And we know that, don't we? So 3 of us, 10 of us, 20 of us, we know that Jesus is here and that we're going to be blessed this morning. Absolutely sure about that. So I want to welcome, I don't think we've got any visitors, but a very, oh yes, well we've got some not really visitors, but back again people, lovely to see you guys. We do have a special visitor, Cheryl Lim, and I'm not going to say too much about the agency that Cheryl's representing because she's going to tell us all that. But I think she must be a pretty special person just reading about her, because she's a vet, came and did her training in Perth, I believe, has obviously got a heart for the poor and the disenfranchised, because apart from working as a vet and studying, she's also doing this work for Tearfund Australia. And I admire that very much because we all know how busy lives are and how much a career can take out a few time-wise, and she's prepared to give her time to Tia, and so we really appreciate you coming here all the way from Thornley. It's very, very much appreciated. Just very quickly, if you're not sure, Tia is a Christian agency, obviously, and as far as I can read, it's working for a just and compassionate world. And wouldn't we all like to see that? More justice, more compassion. Their stated mission is to inspire, connect and equip Australian Christians to live, act and pray for a more compassionate world. And I hope that everything we do this morning brings you to that point where you do believe that your prayers and your actions make a difference in the world that we live in. Cheryl, I'm going to ask you to come and light the Christ candle, if you would, for me. Thank you. That's great. Beautiful, thank you very much. One of the comments that I read in the tea information really resonated with me. It said that even the smallest light can transform the most powerful darkness. Sometimes it's so easy to believe that nothing we can do will ever make a difference, especially if you feel like you're past your use by date. I don't know if anybody ever feels like that, but I do sometimes. But I encourage you this morning to commit to bringing that small amount of light wherever you are and whatever your situation. And so this light that we've lit this morning, apart from reminding us that Jesus is here with us, it also reminds us of how light always, always overcomes darkness. Often, I'm sure you've been in a situation where your power goes out and you light one candle and that candle completely overcomes the darkness.
Good morning, everybody. Our reading this morning is Matthew 5, verses 1 to 16, introducing the Sermon on the Mount. Now, when Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. And blessed are the pure of heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all things of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For in the same way they persecute the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything, except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. This is the word of the Lord.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Cheryl Lim, and I am so grateful for the opportunity to be spending some time with you all this morning. I want to begin by acknowledging the Mandurah people, traditional custodians of the land on which we gather this morning, paying my respects to their elders past and present. I also extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples who might be amongst us this morning. Thanks, Pete. We can move on. So that you have some context of where I'm speaking from, I'm currently Tearfund's lead community organizer for WA, and I've been in this role since the start of this year. I'm currently also undertaking part-time studies in integral mission and community development. And I work as a small animal vet in a few clinics around Perth. So I've lived, studied, and worked in Perth now for about 14 years, but prior to that I was born and raised in Singapore. I gave my life to Jesus in 2009, a year after I arrived in Perth. I finished vet school in 2013, and that was at Murdoch, and was a full-time vet for about 8 years. I've always wanted to explore living and serving God somewhere in the global south, and so in 2019 I traveled to Nepal to see how I could use my vet skills in rural communities. And in 2020, I started my journey in biblical justice when I started studying a course in transformational development. And even though biblical justice was not something I had been familiar with previously, it really excited me because it was what I thought helped me make sense of the chasm I felt existed between my inherited theology and what I thought my theology should be. And currently, in my role with Tearfund, I continue to walk this justice journey as within me, intra-organizationally and extra-organizationally, I am challenged to look for where God is already doing His work and how I can participate. So, who is Tearfund? Tearfund is a Christian aid and development organization, but also it is fundamentally a growing movement of ordinary Christians, just like you and I, across Australia, who want to see God's kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. Its vision, as Cynthia shared earlier, is for a more just and compassionate world, where all people everywhere have the opportunity to flourish and achieve their God-given potential. As a Christian development, relief and advocacy organization, it seeks to respond to global poverty and injustice through a two-pronged approach. One, through discipleship, by informing, challenging and empowering Australian Christians to to make biblically informed and biblically shaped responses to poverty and injustice. And 2, through partnering and supporting community-based Christian groups, churches, and mission organizations around the world as they work holistically with poor communities. Tearfund currently supports more than 100 projects through 63 partner organizations in 20 countries across Africa, South Asia, Southeast Asia, the Pacific, as well as here in Australia. Tearfund doesn't run its own projects. Instead, it works in partnership with locally based Christian agencies because our belief is that they are the ones who better understand the needs of their communities, are better able to connect with local people and organizations, and work in ways that are appropriate to the local culture. So as a faith-based organization, Tearfund Australia seeks to adhere to and be guided by biblical teaching and to evaluate our work and attitudes in its light. We have an organizational commitment to the 10 values listed here. And as CB alluded to earlier, partnership is at the core of what we do and how we work. And this is founded on the biblical understanding that Tearfund's work takes place as part of the global church, working together for God's kingdom. Our approach to partnerships is one of shared faith and vision and mutual respect, of shared hope, shared learning, and shared relationships. Relationship with God, with ourselves, with others, and with the rest of creation. Tearfund seeks to live out these relational values through what the church is called to be, where there is integrity between what the church is and what it proclaims. And this call for the church to keep together in our theology as well as in our practice what the triune God of the Bible always brings together is inherent in the Genesis 1:26-27 passage on the Imago Dei. And that says, "Then God said, 'Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness.' So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them." The concept of the Imago Dei is implicit throughout the Old Testament witness. The direct correlation between why the people of Israel must treat each other well is the often repeated refrain, "I am the Lord your God." They were to be compassionate as Yahweh is compassionate, just as Yahweh is just, and merciful as Yahweh is merciful. And the New Testament witness carries forward and fleshes out the concept of Imago Dei. Jesus appears in the most relational way possible, as a fellow human being, with hands that touch and heal, a voice and heart filled with compassion for the marginalized and condemnation for oppressors. He came to bring good news to the poor, proclaim release to the captive, give sight to the blind, unburden the oppressed, and proclaim the year of the Lord. Jesus' entire life, work, and teaching was to restore broken relationships, essentially restoring the broken and deeply relational Imago Dei. So, what are the implications for us who image forth God and who yearn to be faithful to our call to participate with God in restoring right relationships? Well, the implications are many, but in terms of how we can respond, at Tearfund, we talked specifically about 5 key ways: pray, learn, give, advocate, and live out our daily lives in a way that demonstrates a love for our local and global neighbours. And so this can range from assessing the learning resources we have on our website, giving financially to support the work of our partner organisations, sending useful gifts through our useful gifts catalogue, advocating for climate action, or foreign aid with your local MP. There are lots of ways to get involved, and I'd encourage you to hop onto our website, which is tearfund.org.au, perhaps sign up to our newsletter or magazine, or come by to the table we've got set up in the function room if you'd like to pick up some print material after this. Yeah, or just come chat to me. I'll be hanging around for a little bit after the service.
Father God, as we leave this morning, may we be more thankful and grateful for what we have. May we light up the dark places this week and bless others with love and compassion. May we be more conscious of God's love for us every step we take until next Sunday. Go in peace. Let's light up Mandurah. Amen.